Hey guys, it's Matt here, and today I'm bringing you another episode of Matt Rants. So, I still did not do that Matt Rants on the Sega Mega Drive Mini. It is coming out, although that would be a great running joke if I just never do it until like I'm 80. It'll be the last video on this channel, but no, I will have that one coming out later on this week. The reason why I haven't done it yet is because another piece of news just kind of dropped into my lap, the weirdest piece of news, and I really need to talk to you guys about this. So, a copy of Super Mario Party, that's right, Super Mario Party, it has not been released yet. Street date is actually October 5th, so it's not out just yet, but there was a copy that apparently showed up on eBay, and it was bid up to a whopping, and I swear to God, there will be pictures down below, links to some YouTubers who tweeted about this. It has been sold, quote unquote. I'll talk about why later. It may or may not have been, but it has actually been sold for $7,100. Now, to be fair to the person who put it up on eBay, they put a bid up. So they put a bid. I don't know where it started because sadly the listing has been removed. So they put it up for 99 cents, I would imagine. And people bid it up. I know that from what I heard, 20 or so people bid that thing up to $7,100, and it was sold, quote unquote. We'll get more into that later. $7,100. Now, so again, I want to go over the facts before I give my opinion. So fact, $7,100. Fact, sold September 24th. Fact, game comes out October 5th, legally, legit. And another fact, the game cart, and I mean, you can call this opinion, but just, when you look at the game cart, when you see the picture, it seems as if it is retail ready and that it is not a prototype. So this is the game that would be coming out October 5th, also not released with a box or anything like that. Apparently, the alleged story was that the person who has the game found it in an airport somewhere, so that maybe assuming that a Nintendo employee, random Nintendo employee, dropped it, and this person picked it up and is selling it on eBay. Now, why do I believe them? Well, if it's not a fake cartridge and it's completely 100% legit Super Mario Party, then I believe them because you can see the serial number on the front of the cartridge. That's probably very easy to track. I would hope this person is smart enough, if they were a Nintendo employee, they would be smart enough to not actually post that information online when they're selling this cartridge. But that's just me. I don't know. There's stupid people out there and they can work at any company. So, assuming that this isn't some other Switch cartridge printed out with a Super Mario Party label, then yeah, this was sold for that much money. Now, let me get into some of my opinions as to why this is A, stupid, B, this may have been sold for less, and C, you should almost never do something like this. Even if you have the expendable income, I would not have even done something like this. And I'm a YouTuber who wants to get on the up and up. Even if I had a Switch already and I was like, oh, I can get, an early look at this game and be able to release a video about it, or at the very least do a review about it earlier rather than later. Here's a few issues with that. And before I even get to the YouTuber stuff, I'll just mention a few other things as well. So the first thing, the game comes out on October 5th. Unless you live near this person who's selling it on eBay, and the person who bought this might actually, to be fair, unless you live near the person who was selling this on eBay, you might be getting it around the same time as other people are getting it. You might not have as much of a lead as you like. Now, yes, September 24th, October 5th, it's not like this is coming out the 27th or the 28th, to be fair. But still, even though, yes, there's some stuff that I get, from eBay, regardless of where they are in the US, it might take me 3 days. If they're really, really close, it might be, 3 days if they're really close, like they're also in New York or they're in Connecticut. If someone is really far out in the US, then maybe it'll take a week. Maybe it'll take even closer to 2 weeks, depending on where, I'm getting something from. So the point is that if it's going to take 8 days, so add another 8 days to this, it was sold on the 24th. So let's say, another thing too, by the way, what if this person drags their feet as well? They say they're going to ship it right away, but what if they drag their feet? You never know, especially dealing with this kind of money. You really want to make sure you know the seller and everything like that. So it is literally 10 days away. As of this recording, it's closer, of course, but it is 10 days away when this item was sold on the 24th. So 10 days to the 5th. you get a week with it. I'm not saying for some people that isn't a great head start. It really is, to be fair. Especially if someone is, I mean, Nintendo sometimes gives their games to, YouTubers to review. Sometimes they don't. I don't know if Nintendo is a bit more strict with giving games to people to review, YouTubers and other personalities and stuff like that. But still, $7,100. You are paying $7,100. Well, I'm sorry, $7,040 more than you would pay. Also, by the way, there was shipping, so you had to pay $350 for shipping. Anyway, putting that funny part of the story aside, so you're putting that much money down, $7,040. Because I think the game is 60. Even if the game is 50, $7,050 you're putting down just to get a game 7 days earlier, assuming that you're getting it in a 3-day span after you've purchased it. So you have an extra week. I hope it's $1,000 a day. Actually, about $1,000 a day. I hope. Again, if the person feels as if they've, I'm not going to tell someone what to do with their money. If you really want to do this, if you really have the money to do this, so be it. I'm just saying that I do think that the net positives aren't really there, or don't just necessarily justify doing this. But again, that's just me. I don't have that kind of money, but even if I did, I don't think that I would be doing something like this. But again, I'll get to the YouTube stuff a little bit later. So first of all, yeah, the game comes out October 5th. What are you doing? Second, this is probably a standard retail game. So if this was a prototype in any way, and maybe that's what the person was thinking, oh, what if this is a prototype in some way or another? If it was a prototype, you could bet your behind that, yeah, I would put that money down. I would want to get this for any price if I had the cash. Because yes, prototypes are an awesome thing, especially, now that we're in an age where Nintendo and other companies, I'd imagine, would be a bit more tight-lipped and a bit more like holding these things closer to their chest, because they know, oh God, people, want to get every little nugget, every little nook and cranny out of information, from us. You would think that now more than ever they'd, hide these things. I'm not saying that, Nintendo hasn't and other companies haven't done that in the past as well, but we've still seen other prototypes leak that I don't know if we'll be seeing, Super Mario Odyssey prototype leak within the next 20 or 30 years or something like that. Maybe we will. I'm not saying we'd never get anything, but still, I do think Nintendo might be a bit more, have things on a bit more of a lock and key situation now rather than, back in the day. So yeah, if it was a prototype, I totally get it. But from the looks of it, it seems like it's 100% standard retail game. It'll be the same one that comes out October 5th. So in that case, why? Why? Also, another thing to mention, too, back to the whole October 5th thing, just briefly, I forgot that you can also buy these games through Amazon. Now, I'm not saying I've ever bought a game through Amazon, of course, but my brain is still hardwired, to brick-and-mortar stores. So you can buy it through Amazon. Sometimes Amazon sends you stuff a little bit early. So depending on how late this person gets this game compared to how early some other people get their game on Amazon, there are some people in the U.S. who can actually get their game earlier than this person. But either way, putting that aside, this seems like it's going to be the standard game, no differences. Believe me, if someone finds out that there are differences and that this was a working, a version that was a bit more of a work in progress, then you know what? Cool. I actually believe that, yes, I know it was $7,100, but I do believe that it is justified if there is any difference at all from the retail version. But if it was just someone trying to get the game earlier, again, not so much, at least not for me. The third thing that I think is kind of, iffy when trying to do something like this, your system might actually be bricked. Because nowadays, this isn't an NES prototype or something like that, which, yes, NES prototypes and other prototypes, they do have certain kill switches, so you have to really be careful when trying to extract the data. Don't just, if you think it's a prototype, don't immediately put it into your retro console. Actually try to extract the data first, because some games actually do have these calling it a kill switch. Essentially, if you try to turn the game on and turn the game off or whatever it is, it knows, like it's sentient. It's become self-aware. They know that they have to erase the data after the game is played. So it could be a never played prototype or something like that. So you really want to make sure that you don't screw with that data, you extract it. So in this case, however, it's not so much that there's a kill switch, but you have to install your games. Again, this isn't the 80s, this isn't the 90s, early 2000s. 2000s anymore. You have to install your games, and Nintendo is keeping track of your console. I mean, I hate to say it, but you're worried about Big Brother. Well, Big Luigi is right there. Tall Luigi is there overseeing. I don't know if it's Luigi himself, but maybe a Luigi representative is looking at your console, and if you show that you've installed it on your console, Nintendo, I'm sure Nintendo would even want to release an update to see if the game is installed on someone's console, especially after something like this. If Nintendo wasn't the one that bought it themselves, which is another. Now I'm going to go into this like crazy conspiracy theory rants a little bit later, actually. But still, if Nintendo's going to want to know who bought this, and they're not going to like that this game potentially is coming out early, that someone went rogue, someone accidentally dropped this or whatever it is, and now that someone else has this, well, Nintendo's not going to like that. So I don't think Nintendo is going to allow this person to actually even play it that early, unless this person has a hacked Switch, which, okay, if they have a hacked Switch, then that's cool, but then they already can get online anyway, and from what I've heard, Super Mario Party has a lot of online functionality. It's not 100% online, but it's still a decent amount. So if you are a YouTuber, let's say, and you want to review the game, you can't use the online functionality until day one, and if you want to review it devoid of that, okay, but again, Nintendo might have an issue with that and actually might, consider your console bricked. They might consider you a hacker, even though you're obviously not, but they'll consider you a hacker, and then all of a sudden, boom, your Switch and your account are in jeopardy. So you potentially spent $7,000, a little over, to get your console bricked. So woohoo, yahoo. So number 4, before I even get to the YouTube thing, I want to mention that this whole auction may not have been paid for. Now, there's 2 reasons for that. The first reason is, if you guys don't know, you never, bought something on eBay or bid for something on eBay, there are 3 issues here. One, there could be shill bidding, and that's a term that happens if it's you, me, and someone else bidding, and you and I really want something, and this third person right here, they're a real person. They're not necessarily a bot, but they are friends or a sock puppet account for the person actually selling the item. So they log in, or they tell someone, a friend of theirs, mom, dad, whoever, brother, sister, someone in the family, to log in and say, hey, bid higher than these 2 guys, or whoever, we are, bid higher than us, and then all of a sudden, we'll go, no, we gotta bid even higher. So we don't even know if maybe the person who bid the highest, it would be funny if it was the shill bidder, but it might not have been. But if it was the shill bidder, then they go, oh, well, of course I can't pay for this. And then they bow out, and then it goes to the second person. So I can't sadly see the listing anymore. It has been removed. But if it wasn't removed, I probably could have seen maybe it went from $5,000 to $7,000, which, believe me, $5,000 for this thing is still pretty expensive. But that $2,000 gap really does matter, especially when we're looking back on this in the history books. And instead of us, having any corrections like, no, actually it was this, no, actually it was that, we might have some people online who were following it. I'm sure that there are some that aren't just like me that, are following it retroactively. But it is sad that for the history books, we only see the 7,000 number because it probably did not go for that high. And maybe, right, another alternative here is the shill bidding thing still did happen, but that person is third, right? And so the person up top, maybe they just really couldn't pay for it. They were like, I got caught up in the moment. I can't pay this money. And then whatever the second person was who, had bid on it, maybe they did, or maybe they didn't. And then maybe that's the reason why you can't go through this anymore. Maybe the seller got pissed and then canceled it. So this thing could have potentially not even been paid for, or, and here's where my conspiracy theory comes in, Nintendo might have swooped in and been like, 7,100, and everyone's just like, wait, what account is this? And Nintendo's like, you don't have to worry about it. It's not an official, Nintendo eBay account, but, they may have said to, a Nintendo employee, make an eBay account, make this cart disappear, and also, we can track that guy just from his hand. We'll find him. And so that would be the scariest thing in the world. But still, you do wonder if Nintendo may have even swooped in and bought it themselves. So either way, yeah, this thing may not have been paid for. This thing might not even be in anyone's hands right now. Other than, of course, the original person selling it, and they may not even try to sell it because of how close it is to street date. I mean, maybe they'll put it up again. That would be funny. If they did put it up again, I would throw my hat in there. But again, it would never come down to me because I would be bidder number, 5 at $50 when bidder number, 15 to 20 is going up and being a heavy spender, and it's like, no, dude, you're getting closer and closer to October 5th. Don't spend 5,000. Don't spend 10,000. Please don't. But would have been nice if the person actually showed. That's the other thing too. I'm pretty sure they didn't show any gameplay footage. If they did, then I didn't see anyone talk about that. But if they didn't even show any gameplay footage, and of course everyone's first thought, and understandably so, is that it's fake. And that's another point as well. Before I get to the YouTube thing, it could just be completely 100% fake. I tried to give this guy the benefit of the doubt, say that I believed him, but you know what? It could straight up be fake. It might not even be a Switch game. It might just be a blank cartridge. Or it might be another random game that's really cheap for the Switch. We don't know, right? We have no idea, what this dude is doing, what his intentions are, what their intentions are. We don't know who the person is selling it. But yeah, so it could completely 100% be fake, and you spent $7,100 on a cartridge that doesn't even have Super Mario Party on it in any shape or form, or even any game on it at all. So that's an issue right there. Also, I should mention, back to my bricked point just for a second, I forgot to, because I don't have a Switch myself, I keep on forgetting that sometimes the entire game isn't even on the cartridge. So you're going to have to install part of the game, most likely. Is Nintendo going to really let that happen? I gotta be real. I don't think Nintendo's going to be happy about that. And again, now they know your account, now they know your IP. In their minds, they're like, screw it, let's just put them in with the hackers, like I mentioned earlier. Now, on to my last point, the whole YouTuber thing. Look, I'm a YouTuber. Maybe you're watching this, listening to this, you're a YouTuber. For some reason now, I'm thinking of Keenan and Kel, Good Burger. I'm a YouTuber. You're a YouTuber. No, we're all YouTubers. But, so the thing is, when it comes to being a YouTuber, I totally get wanting to get that advantage, at least a little bit, being really excited about the idea that you can actually get this earlier than someone else to put out your review. But it's just, like I mentioned earlier, it's not the 90s anymore. It's not the 2000s anymore. It's just, and some of us are painfully aware of that, but it's not the 90s, it's not the 2000s, with so much, with all the stuff that has to go into getting this game, installing the game, reviewing the game. While it might seem nice that you get to put this video out, another issue is that companies, when they give out games, and again, I don't know if Nintendo does this, when in general giving out games, but I know if they did, they would do this, just like other companies do. They have kind of an NDA thing going on, like a non-disclosure agreement. So it's a bit like it. Basically, the idea is, if I'm giving you this game, so let's say we get big enough. If you're listening to this right now, we have 100-ish subs, and I love all of you guys who sub, but the point is that if we're big enough to actually get a company to go, here's a free Steam key, or here's just the general digital code. Like, I'm talking about companies that are, Nintendo, Sega, nothing against smaller companies, nothing against indie companies, but the reason why I'm picking on a Nintendo or a Sega is because those NDAs exist, where it's like, we're giving you this digital code, you cannot show any footage or talk about this game until street date. If you do, we will find you. It becomes Liam Neeson. I don't know who you are. Although they do know because they gave you the code. But I'm going to find you. And when I do, you're going to go to... We're going to sue you. And so, no, but that's the thing, though. There is potential lawsuits, and things like that could be on the table. So even though this person never really, came to that agreement, there could still be some kind of... some kind of clause or something that involves when you buy the game that says, hey, if you get it early, you can't put it online. Now, that might sound dumb to some of you, but companies hide a lot of stuff in their user agreements. That's what I was looking for, user agreements. They hide a lot of stuff in those user agreements, so I do wonder if this person, even getting the game and trying to play the game, and even if you say nobody should be allowed to play the game, I'll say this much. If he or she or they, whomever has bought this, if you want to say they're allowed to play the game, okay. But to put that video online, that Nintendo does have the right to go after them for that, for, going against the street date. It would be the same thing if someone, and I hate to bring this up because, I know we put a lot of gameplay footage online when we do Let's Plays and reviews and things like that, but it would be like me doing a movie review, but doing the review based off of an Oscar copy. And if you're wondering what I mean by Oscar copies, well, certain times of the year, the Oscars happens, the Academy Awards, and different companies that make movies, they want some of those. So what ends up happening is Oscar screeners actually go out to different people who are members of the Academy, but not necessarily high up. It could be even people that are lower that just get to vote on, different movies and movies that they enjoy. They're kind of like a would you consider or can you consider us? I forgot the exact term. But the point is, though, is that if I did a review based on that, I don't know if I could do it in article form. Potentially no, but maybe I could because it is technically in theaters. But if I'm doing a YouTube review, I can't use that footage because those screeners are being sent out before there's even DVD copies of this. So some of those rips have come online, and you can actually see those rips of movies online, and they'll have like little disclaimers at the bottom. They're like, this is only meant for review for the Academy. But you can still see those, even with those, watermarks. You see them, but if you were making a YouTube review, you can't use them for obvious reasons. And I think the same thing does apply here. So you might have someone who's now in trouble with Nintendo legally, which is like, oh God, no, don't do that. That's really bad as well. So as we're wrapping this thing up, I want to know what you guys think about this, and I would like to say one small thing. If this thing was taken down and it wasn't paid for, not because the seller didn't want to buy it, not because the person wasn't willing to give it and it was fake, if everything was going a-okay, but Nintendo contacted eBay and was like, take it down, I would be frustrated with that. And the reason why is because I do think that Nintendo should be allowed to say, you can't install it until street date, you can't play it until street date, but I don't think Nintendo should have the power to say whether or not you can sell the game on, before street date or not. I personally think that's a bit of an overreach. Now, again, that's another conspiracy theory. That's just an assumption. I have no idea if this sale has gone through or not. I'm just assuming if it didn't go through, or if the reason why I cannot access the page anymore, because I can't access the sold page. I can look for Super Mario Party Nintendo Switch on eBay. I can click the sold box, right? The checkbox for sold. I can find the game, but then when I click on the page, unlike other sold pages, it doesn't take me back to this auction or this item has already been purchased, or this auction has ended. It doesn't do that. It just goes to sorry, is like literally like eBay's page of like sorry, we have no idea what's happening, and for some reason they sound like Elmer Fudd. But the point is that eBay is seemingly removed the page. So I'm hoping Big Daddy Nintendo didn't come in here and say you're not allowed to sell that. Don't even let that transaction go through, and then PayPal refunded everything. Because frankly, even though I've been saying to you guys throughout this entire thing, you really shouldn't pay that money, still I do think you should be allowed to buy this. Now, to be fair, if Nintendo maybe said, oh, the person who got this game, they assaulted one of our employees, or they roughhoused, or they bumped into them, to try to get the game and then took it and ran. If there's something physical going on here, or that someone took it from Nintendo HQ or something like that, then I totally get it. Never mind, take that thing down immediately. But if it's an employee who just dropped it and then someone else picked it up and wanted to sell it, I think they should be allowed to. It's everything after that the reason why I'm kind of sitting here and I'm like, here's why you probably shouldn't buy it. But I do think that the person should be allowed to sell it. Either way, though, tell me what you think in the comment section down below. Maybe you disagree with me on that point. Any points you might disagree with me on. I do want to hear what you guys have to say. And would you pay for this? Retail or not? Maybe would you pay for it if it's a prototype? Would you pay for it if it's retail? I don't know. I know where I stand, but I want to know where you guys stand. So, thank you all so much for listening in. As always, please remember to like and subscribe if you liked the video. And if you didn't like the video, you can still like and subscribe either way. Alright, guys, so take care and tune in next time for another episode of Matt Rants or something completely different. Alright, guys, so take care. Love you all and tune in next time. So, see ya.